Hello guys and welcome to episode 27. First of all, Happy New Year to everyone and all our viewers. And today we're going to be racing the Seat Leon Cup Racer 2014.
Which is a fantastic car made by a modding group, so it's not an official car, but gosh is it fun to drive.
Yeah.
All three of us drove it before we've made this video. Naturally I'm the one driving on it, but these two have both driven it, so at least we'll get some really good feedback between all three of us about the physics.
I mean, first things first, this was probably the easiest car to drive.
By far the easiest because of its front wheel drive, and because of the fact of it being a cup racer car. Is it? Yeah.
And I'll be honest, every time I sort of test drive a car, I managed to spin it. I think this was the first time I never spun a car. And actually I finished a lap on it and got a decent time as well. So,
I spun it.
Yeah, you spun it.
I spun it.
Yeah.
That is because you were driving much faster.
Yeah.
That is true, but still, what we're going to say, we can talk a bit about the mod first.
Yeah, we'll start.
We'll just start right at the beginning. It's a mod created by race department user Tommy78, who's done the models, textures, and physics for this car.
Yeah.
The sound is created by a man named Lucas Mollman. Liveries are created by 3 people in the team, and I believe it's 16 people worked on this car, including a few people who seem to actually own this car, and their liveries. If you go through the liveries, there are 38 liveries for this car, which is incredible.
A lot then.
And some of the drivers, some of the people who contributed to this, so special thanks to them, possibly giving their feedback on the mod, etc. Their liveries are actually in the game, so that's quite interesting.
I mean, before you talk, I'm going to nickname this car the Canary. For obvious reasons when you break
Which you'll
it.
see in 3, 2, 1. There we go.
There they go. It chirps, and it's not an error or anything like that. It actually does. It's funny, squeak or chirp or whatever you want to call it.
It's funny he mentions that because the previous video isn't the yellow bird the canary.
That's true. That one's terrible. The blow off valve was.
I thought this was sort of a wind up, so I went on YouTube and so I put in the name, and it actually chirps.
Yeah.
It does. It actually chirps.
It does. It really does. Admittedly, the chirping here is slightly different, but we'll come to that when we talk about what we don't like about the car or things like that. But first, I think we should just go with the specs of the actual car.
Yeah. So I mean, it weighs just over a ton, so 1,150 kilograms.
Yep.
Pretty light car.
Yeah, 330 brake. I'll be honest here. When I drove this car, it didn't feel like a 330 brake car. I mean, I don't know about you.
I know what you mean. It didn't feel you didn't feel that sort of oomph of power.
Yeah.
I think that's got to do with the fact that it's a cup racer car.
Yeah.
You're talking about when you're flicking through the gears. It's flying through the gears really quickly with the double clutch. You know, it's everything's very smooth on it. You don't have that oomph of power at all. And being a front wheel drive, if you try and put your foot down from 0. It just wheel spins. 330 brake horsepower through the front wheels is quite a lot.
I mean, it's got a top speed of 160, but it is limited to 155. And 0 to 60 in 5 seconds, which is, I mean, it's quite a nippy car. It's for what it is. It's like a, you know, it does go.
But I think obviously the other thing is these are under regulations as well, because it's a race car. All race cars are under specific regulations. So, for example, you know, in Formula 1, a lot of people know about how they change regulations to do with engines and noise and the nose size, etc. Same with any other race car, whether it's GT2, GT3, these cup cars, whatever you've got, British touring car, all of them have this same set of regulations, and each series has its own. So this has got to be under a certain set of regulations, which means that maybe this car could have been a lot faster. And maybe they could have made this car 4-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive or something like that. But they didn't because they have to go with the regulations.
I mean, I've just noticed right now, I mean, I drove this. What I'm noticing right now, there's not much room to look out of a windscreen, is there?
There isn't. And
I mean, I'm not having to knock out the mods here. I think
almost spin.
This is actually how it is in real life. You got the wiper on the bottom, you got the anti-roll bars.
Well, so you got the roll. That's the roll cage.
Roll cage, even.
You got the roll cage at the top,
and then you got the mirror on the side. There's not much room.
On top of that, you've got a massive Castrol decal stuck across the top.
And this is actually what it does look like. So you know, not like I said, I'm not.
What I would do personally is in Assetto Corsa. For those of you who it is difficult to look out of, like you said, but that is how the car is. So no knocking to the modders there. But what you can do in Assetto Corsa, if you go to your driver seat options, just lower yourself in the seat a bit. I think you'll get a much better view out of it. Although, given your height, if you were to get in there, that's probably what you would see. I'd probably see something a little lower.
Because I'm what 6? I'm 6'1".
6'1". So yeah.
What's you're 5'9". 5'9". Yeah, I think that's sort of
I'm a little shorty.
It's not that bad. It's average.
Same height as someone like Michael Schumacher. So I'm alright.
No, you just wanted to put that in the sentence. You and Michael Schumacher, you're
in the same sentence. That's brilliant.
Yeah, you don't drive the same.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Okay. Just to bring you back down to earth. Anyway. Right. Right. Well, back where were we?
Engine size, 2 litre TSI. So it's a TSI. So it's not diesel, petrol, but turbocharged. And the standard car's got a 55 litre fuel tank, which is exactly what this car's got. So don't try and put the extra 60 litres in because you're not going to be able to do that. So you're not going to have very long races in this car if you try it.
6-speed
DSG gearbox, so
which stands for direct shifting gearbox, something like that.
Yeah.
I just had to research that just to make sure, you know.
So you've got the paddle shifters, which again, I'm not. You know what I'm like with paddle shifters. I'm not a fan of paddle shifters.
I prefer the old school.
Yeah, but you've got to admit, in a race car, it does have merit. And then the last one, not least, and we've already mentioned this, it's a front wheel drive. So all that power, all through the front wheels. Quite strange. Racing wheels, it's 18 inches.
Big.
And the car is actually wider than the normal car. So if any of you actually have a Seat Leon, you're probably used to the size of the car. Be aware this car is wider. It is about 40 centimeters wider. So you're gonna have to be careful, even if you think you can get really, really close. Because I know a lot of people who try, for example, like that. I know a lot of people, especially with the BMWs. BMW is a very common car to have. Anyone who's got a 3 Series will know exactly how wide the 3 Series is. Whether you're in game or real life, you're going to know. Anyone with a Seat Leon, this is wider, so be a little bit more careful. What else have you got? It's Dunlop tyres. In this, you get slicks. There's no wets available, but obviously Assetto Corsa doesn't have a weather effect, so that's okay. So you're going to get the slick tyres from Dunlop, which are pretty sticky, I want to admit. When you're driving around it, they are really sticky.
It does. I mean, stick to the road very well.
It does. But I mean, there are a few things that I will mention later about it. And you've probably noticed from the way I'm driving already. You've probably noticed where it doesn't seem to stick to the road. What else about it? We've mentioned 38 liveries. They're all real life liveries, and each of them are unique. So you can drive in whatever colours you want. I think there's blue, white, black, whatever you want. And I'm sure people will add more. And what else is there? Well, you can buy this car.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about Assetto Corsa, we're talking about real life here. You can buy this car if you have 70,000 euros.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I would not spend that much money on.
Or what you could do is spend about £40 on Assetto Corsa, £200 on a decent steering wheel kit, download this mod and have somewhat the amount of a... The sort of. You won't have the in the seat feel unless you spend a few £1,000s. But then again, I think for 70,000 euros, you could probably build some fantastic simulator.
Exactly.
Anyway. But yeah, so that's that. That's pretty much the specs of the car. The car in the game. A few things to note is that the tyre pressures are at the minimum that Seat recommend. Seat. Is it Seat or Seat? I think it's Seat. Seat. Seat recommend 1.4 bar in the front and 1.6 bar in the rear, so that's about 20 and 23 psi. That is what the car comes with as standard. I recommend, after driving on that, I'd probably recommend putting it up a bit. I'd probably recommend giving yourself about 1.7 bar front and 1.9 on the rear. It just feels a bit more alive.
Yeah. Oops, I'm spun out.
Right.
Yeah, spun out.
I'm going to stop you there for 1 second. You know, a few years ago, the Seats always used to have VW engines. So Seat Leon, Golf, Ibiza,
Still do.
So this is in effect a Golf engine. The TSI.
In effect, it's the Golf TSI.
That's what reminded me, because when I heard of TSI, I thought, okay, I first saw the TSIs and Golfs in Europe.
Well, that's because these companies, Seat is owned by Volkswagen and Audi. So our Volkswagen supply the engines to Audi, Seat, Skoda, even Lamborghini. Lamborghini have engines that they supply to the Audi supercars. But we'll talk about Lamborghini a little later on, so stay tuned for that. But like we said, it does come with it's a Volkswagen engine, and it's also a Volkswagen gearbox. So one thing you can be sure of is it feels good. It does feel good on it. That's all the specs about the car.
Yeah.
Now I think we can actually talk about the mod. More about the mod. All three of us drove it. We'll talk about physics in a bit. First of all, I think we want to probably focus on sound. Now, as you've probably noticed already, we've already put in some replays throughout the laps, as well as having this onboard that we're now back into. It sounds different on board and outside,
yeah, well,
which is how it should.
It should be, yeah.
But while the outside sounds really, really good, I don't know about you guys, but there's something about the onboard that I can't put my finger on about the engine note. It just sounds electronic.
Are we not talking about the sort of braking? So
we're not talking about. We'll talk about the braking in a minute.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the engine note itself, and I'm spinning. I've spun.
Yeah.
So like this car can be spun. When we come to the physics, oh yeah. Another thing, you can't actually dump the clutch and spin the car around because of it being a front wheel drive. So that didn't work. I thought I might be able to do it because my tyres were dirty. It didn't work. But yeah, I don't know about you guys, and I don't know about you viewers or those of you who have tried out this car already. What do you guys think? Is it something slightly off on the sound inside? It's not bad. The sound's not bad. It's just
something you can't pinpoint, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something sounds very electronic, but you just don't know what it is.
It's just, I don't know whether it's the revs that sound a little bit too electronic, or I'm not really sure. And then, of course, there's the braking.
Yeah, that's the biggest irritating factor of this car, I think.
It's not just the mod; it's the car itself brakes that with. But we feel, I mean, from what I watched on YouTube videos,
it's different. It's got a different tone, isn't it?
Every braking noise is sort of different. While the braking sound in this is too consistently the same.
Which I'm going to say is probably because it's limited by Assetto Corsa's engine at the moment. Because you probably can't have multiple braking noises for one thing. But if it is possible, I think the modders, it'd be really good if you guys are watching this video to look into that. And if you can, I like the fact that when you brake lightly, the noise is quieter, and when you brake hard, the noise is a lot louder.
Yeah.
I think it's too loud though. I do think it's too loud.
It's overpowering.
When you brake, it does drown out the noise of the engine, and that I don't think that should ever happen. The other thing is, when you watch on YouTube videos, or if you watch this car in real life at any racing, when you hit the brakes, you hear the sound. You know it sounds it's a mechanical sound. In here, that sound sounds very, very electronic. And I know sometimes you can't. There's a limitation to what you can do, but that's one thing I have to say I really don't like about this car. That's the one thing. If I was to pinpoint one thing that I have to mention that's not good about this car, it's that braking squeal. It's too overpowering, the noise is too consistent, and it's just annoying, isn't it?
I mean, okay, this is in the game, but even in real life, it makes that same sound. I'm just wondering why it makes that funny sound.
Well, in real life, it sounds to me like a mechanical. It's a mechanical brake squeal, which is fine.
But I mean, just imagine if you're driving that car in real life.
I think just need
it's a race car, isn't it?
I think you need a can of WD-40 and that should sort it.
Maybe it's something, or maybe because this is a car that you can buy, maybe they've actually fitted that on purpose. The fact that when you're hitting the brakes, you know how hard you're hitting the brakes.
But there's an indicator there to tell you when you're braking anyway.
That is true, and that's another thing. They've fitted an indicator which you'll notice on the
steering wheel.
If you look on the HUD, so you look on the track display, and I will be braking in a few seconds, and you'll see
on number
1 and 2 is lights, number 3 and 4, which is on the left hand side, they just turned red right now. They're the brakes, and then 5, 6, 7, 8 is fuel level, which I found quite odd to have in a car. Lights I understand, but the fact that you're braking, I think they're trying to make a point here for people who are buying this car that, are you braking? Yes, you are certainly braking. Make sure you are braking. So I don't know. Perhaps that's why they've done it, but still, I think it's far too overpowering in this car.
Right. I mean, we're not saying this is a bad car.
Oh, it's not a bad
so
car.
I mean, we're now going to look on the good aspects of the car.
Let's look at the good.
Yeah, because there is quite a few.
Oh yeah. Let's start with the looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic looking car.
Yeah, the
mod itself is almost. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's pretty good.
I'm sliding all over this place.
It's pretty good. It's a good copy of the actual car itself.
Materials are well made. The reflections are good. You can see the reflections even on roll cage.
Yeah.
Very well made.
Yeah. I remember you mentioned about the detail within the wheel, such as the brake discs.
Yep.
Things
Detail
like that.
on the outside, which is great, which you guys have probably seen in the other replays, or you'll probably see when we go back into the replays, which might actually be back in.
You can actually see the calipers and
You can see you can actually read what's on it, which is quite fantastic. The other thing is inside, just the HUD. That HUD itself is bang on what the real car is, but it just looks. You know how sometimes when you get a car, and sometimes they don't focus on the HUD too much because they're going to be looking out the window most of the time. This one, they've really focused on it. You've got, you don't have water temperature, but then again, Assetto Corsa I don't think supports water temperatures. But you've got the lights at the top, which are sort of like the Formula 1 style like shifter display. You've got the rev counters in the middle. You've actually got a graphical representation of the revs. You've got the speed, you've got the turbo boost, which you can see has just gone down to 0.6. 0.4 now. You've got the lap time, you've got the gear that you're in, you've got whether your lights are on, whether you're braking, you've got the fuel level. It's all there, and it's very, very well done. I think the fact that they've put that much detail in on the interior of the car, it really, really makes it. Can I say it's probably one of the best cars in terms of detail?
Yeah.
I think I would say yes.
Yeah.
And exterior.
Gosh,
both are well made, you know.
The car, the Seat Leon, the new version of the Seat Leon, is a very nice looking car. The Cup Racer just looks sublime. And the fact that in this mod they have got that sort of that sublime finish that the Cup Racer has, and they've managed to accurately represent it in this mod, I think that is something to congratulate them for. And I cannot fault graphics on this car.
The visual aspect is second to
spot
none.
on,
Exactly. And the fact all the liveries, they're all highly detailed. They're not like a blurry livery or anything. They are fully detailed. Names, colours, everything. What can you say about that? That's, for that, it's 10 out of 10. For the visuals and the textures, it is 10 out of 10. Physics. You two drove it as well.
Oh,
what
yeah.
do you think?
Well, let's just say I drove. Well, I was the last person to drive the car. I remember you mentioned the car was very easy to drive. You said it was easy to drive. I didn't believe you until I got in the seat, and I think it was a bit too easy to be honest.
So you think?
I think that's because it's a cup car.
I don't know if that's actually how it is in real life.
I think that's probably what it is. I think for what when I drove it, it was easy. It was difficult to not go in the direction you wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it sounds really stupid saying that, but someone like me that keeps spinning the car around the corners, I didn't spin it once, and I think that is to do with the cup car. Well, it being a cup car.
I mean, I spun it more than both of you.
Yeah.
So
No, I think that was because you drove it for long. I think if you did a solid lap in it,
yeah,
I think you would have been okay.
I think so. And the thing is also is with a cup car, if you drive it at an okay pace, you're okay. If you drive it at a decently fast pace, which is what you two were doing, I think you're okay as well. I was trying to push it, so you guys were doing I think 2 minute 10s, somewhere around that. I was trying to push it for a 2 minute 3, and I think when you get to that limit, I think that's where the car sort of comes alive.
Yeah.
So for those people who want to practice, I think it's a really good car to practice. Like you said, it's very easy to get to grips with. You can jump in the car, drive it, and then you just work your way up. You were in 2 minutes 10s. I'm sure if you had half an hour on it, you would have been down in the 2 minute 5s, straight into it, and you still wouldn't be spinning. And then come towards the 2 minute 3s, perhaps then you would have started feeling a bit of twitching. Corner.
The braking. Well, so before I'm just going to cut you. The braking is brilliant on this.
It is.
I mean, you can brake so late going into a corner, provided it's not on the corner, or just before. It will take you through.
Downside of braking really late means you have to brake really hard, which means you have to put up with that noise.
Yeah.
You have to really put up with the noise. Now, something that I don't like about the physics of this car, doesn't handle bumps very well.
Oh, yeah.
Sudden changes in elevation, it does not handle.
You might have already noticed on.
You might have noticed it every corner, every time, every lap on this one corner, I seem to start sliding. Now there's a bump on the inside.
Is it this one?
Yep. As I come onto the inside, there's a bump there. Now I've gone really slowly through it this time, right? So that way you can see. Now I've gone slowly. It's sort of the car's okay with it. That being said, it was still a little bit loose. Yep, it was still a little bit loose, and I didn't like it.
Yeah. I mean,
that's probably the only thing.
That's the only thing.
With the driving side of it.
I'm not going to say anything else.
But I mean, for what it is, the car itself. I mean, we started on a bad note. I mean, we said all the disadvantages, and now we've said advantages. I'm probably going to give this car about an 8.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5 as well. Yeah.
So we're looking about 8 to 8.5 out of 10.
Which is
it's very good. The sound lets it down. We'll go back into the replay though, because this part of the sound, I think it's worth listening to again. And I think that this sound is what sort of is its saving grace in terms of sound. Otherwise, I don't know what to make of the sound. But externally, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
That brings us to the end of this car. Now, it's 2015. Assetto Corsa, it's got a whole new year ahead of it. And they've decided to give us a bit of a surprise.
Yep. I mean, if you could choose any car make that you could have in Assetto Corsa,
that we don't have already.
Yeah, obviously.
What would you have?
I would have said Porsche or Porsche.
But we've got the roof now.
Yeah.
So we're there.
Yeah. And
what would you have said?
Oh, I would have said Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Had it been probably 10 years ago, I would have said Ferrari, but Lamborghini.
But we've already got Ferrari.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you'd say Lamborghini. You'd say Porsche. We've got the roof.
but I would have said Lamborghini second.
And I would have said, from what we've got, I would have said Lamborghini as well. Guess what? Lamborghini are now licensed in Assetto Corsa. And the cars that are going to be coming in are, and who wants to be reading off this list?
I'll let you do the honours.
We've got the Lamborghini Aventador, the Gallardo LP 570-4 Superleggera, the Gallardo GT3, the Huracan LP 620-2 Super Trofeo, the Huracan GT3, the Veneno, the Asterion, the Miura SV. Now that's a mod. Now I wonder if they're going to purchase that. And someone's pointing at me, pointing. Let me say this last one.
This is my favourite car from the, when I was a kid. The Countach. That is what I'm. It may not drive as good as other ones, but it's absolutely. I
love the look of it.
It doesn't matter. Before I remember, I used to have a poster of it on my bedroom.
I had a model.
I used to have one as well.
I've got a poster of it, and I've got one of those models. You know those models, 1,000-piece models.
Was it a white colour one?
Yeah, it was white.
It was white, but my one I had it painted blue. I wanted to paint it blue.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm looking at. But one thing I can't wait is to drive the Countach.
When it comes to that, when it does come out, normally I'm driving.
Yeah.
This time you are going to drive that one.
Drive or sail.
Sail. But so that is the Lamborghini license, which we are over the moon about. Especially one thing that I'm really, really interested in is the GT3 cars.
Yeah.
Because that means that along with the Z3 and the McLaren, we've got more and more GT3 cars coming out. The Nissan is coming out. There are features and content that are scheduled for 2015 that Kunos haven't told us about yet. They're saying that in 2015, 50 official cars are going to be released.
No, that's a hell of a lot of cars.
Including the Lamborghinis we've just done.
Yeah.
We know the Alfa Romeos are coming in, Audi, Ford. We know they're all coming in. I can't wait for it.
If you think about it, 50 cars is a lot, but this is official mods.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, there's
Official mods. You mean
official cars.
Yeah. And
There will be way more cars from modders as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You're looking at probably 100 plus cars.
You're looking
easy.
Now, obviously, we are going to put in a word of caution here. We're looking at a lot of these probably being DLC. Not all of them. I'm sure they're going to give us a couple of Lamborghinis for free as well. But you're going to have some DLC. The thing is, how much was this game when we got it on early access? £25. Yeah. I spent £65 on Gran Turismo 5, and I spent £60 on Gran Turismo 6.
Yeah, because you got the special edition.
I got the special editions, but that was with extra cars and things like that. Then I spent about £6 or £7 in DLC. The fact that I spent £25 on this, I would happily spend, over time, not in one go, over time, I would happily spend £100 on this simulator, because they've really made it fantastically well. And honestly, this is the best simulator I have ever driven. And I have driven in a lot of simulators. So, on that note, I think we can say thank you very much for watching. We'll leave downloads for this car in the description box below. Please subscribe to our channel, hit the like button on this video, look out for the Lamborghinis, and we will see you in the next episode.